Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and for today's video I have yet to talk to you guys about another J-drama that I had just recently started watching and finished watching. And I don't think this is relatively new. It aired around early this year, I think, and I just gotten around to watching it, and I was surprised at how I was intrigued by the story given some circumstances, which I'm gonna dig deeper into right now. That I'm talking about is Todome no Kiss, or the kiss of death, the kiss that kills, something like that translated. And the interesting part about this is it joined two of the most popular booming Japanese actors, obviously in Japan and even in the international sphere, which is Yamazaki Kento and Arata Mackenyu. And to be fair, I've gotten a lot of recommendations for this particular drama, mainly because of the fact that they're together in this one. But, just to put it out there, I was diving into this drama with me not being the biggest fan of the two actors involved, and I'm gonna explain why. Now, first off, if you're a stan of either of them, I'm just expressing my opinion on the matter, but don't worry, there's gonna be a positive twist to this afterwards, so just putting it out there. The thing is, Yamaken has been in almost every single manga or anime live action adaptation for even just the past year, and he's everywhere. And the thing is, the roles that he played, and trust me, I have seen most of the dramas that he's been in, like Orange, Your Lie in April, Hero and Disqualified, what's that? The one with the 3 sweethearts thing, 1 Week Friends. So it's a lot. Even the Death Note version that he's in, I've seen. And I think it's one of the reasons why I couldn't appreciate him as much, because I do want my dramas to have a bit of a variety, and seeing him in every single thing in almost very similar niches, like it's either high school, or he plays some tortured, pained character, or someone who's really jumpy, and I don't know, so it's always the same thing for me. In every single drama, he always plays like a 1 or 2 dimensional character, which didn't really make me appreciate his range as an actor. And again, seeing him everywhere, it sort of is just like, oh, it's him again. So I didn't jump into this drama because I am a fan of him. Same with Mackenyu. I've only seen him in quite a couple of series, because I understand that he's a relatively new actor. So some of his works that I've seen is Chihaya Furu and what's the other one? Peach Girl. And again, it's the same dynamic. I couldn't see his range as an actor in both series because of how limiting the characteristics of the character he plays is at. So I didn't just jump into this because of me being a fan, or because I think both of them are good looking actors and I probably could sit through the entire thing just looking at their faces. No, it wasn't like that at all. I wanted to watch this series because I did find the plot interesting after a lot of people recommended it to me, and I decided to just give it a go. And for some reason, I did find the theme song of the series familiar, and I just figured that Suda Masaki was also in the cast of this particular series. So again, very strong casting. And that particular song, I remember bookmarking when I listened to it on Spotify. So I was really glad as to how familiar it sounded, and then I realized, oh, I really like this song. So great job in that. But going into the plot itself, I was really happy that I get to watch this, because I happen to appreciate Yamazaki Kento and Mackenyu more in this series, mainly because they unlike the other films that I have seen them in the past, this one really tested and challenged their like the extreme emotions that they had to portray or to show on camera. Like I've finally seen Mackenyu playing a bit like crazy or mad or sad. And again, sorry, just if I forgot to say this earlier, this video is gonna have a lot of spoilers, just like my other videos. This is more or less just my thoughts on the series, so I'll probably like say a lot of spoilers in this one, so if you haven't seen it yet, then I'm sorry, but yep, you can stop watching now if you don't want to be spoiled. But anyways, there's that. I mean, I have seen him like switch his expression from kind to crazy in a matter of seconds, which I truly appreciate. There's some like parts still that I figured he could have acted on better, but I do think he's showing improvement in terms of his acting for this particular series. And then there's Yamazaki Kento, who plays a lot of like, who played into a lot of emotions for this series. And to be fair, like I'm also watching Good Doctor now while I was watching this one, so I got to appreciate him more as an actor, to see his range outside of just, you know, just manga adaptations and just romantic comedy or just romance films or romantic drama films. So it sort of like made me appreciate him more. I found the first 2 episodes a bit too like slow in a way. Like I do feel like, can we pick up the pace? But there's still this interesting element to it that I really wanted to like figure out as well, and so that's why I ended up watching the 3rd episode and the rest. And during the 3rd episode, the story started to pick up a much faster pace, which made me like, okay, so this is becoming more and more interesting. So I suggest that if you're new into watching this particular series, yes, the first 2 episodes would probably have you like giving up on it, but it's still worth the watch afterwards. So one thing I really wanted to highlight is almost all of the actors as well. Like I do feel very very grateful that the cast really delivered on just playing the roles really good in this one. It kept the suspense and the thrill as well as the fun of the story going. And just like any other J-drama that I've watched, the progression of the scenes and even the side stories, they really have a good way of just meshing everything in, even at such a short span, because Japanese dramas only last around like 12 to 15 episodes per season. And I don't know, like Japanese dramas really do have a way of just closing each and every loophole and plot line really nicely. And even in the end of the series, where everything just feels kind of like sped up because of where they're taking the story into a conclusion, I was actually like, if you're not used to Japanese dramas, you wouldn't find the ending satisfying, I think. But as for me, who's been watching Japanese dramas for as long as I can remember, I do think that it was just a perfect way to end it. It's pretty much what I wanted to highlight. Japanese dramas, when it comes to time traveling, I do prefer their approach on the matter as compared to like Korean dramas or Western dramas in general, who take time traveling as this sort of like human fantasy and ending it in terms of a more satisfying and happy ending. To me, Japanese dramas have always struck into this realistic way of approaching time travel, in a way that in the end, the person who is going back in time over and over again would eventually learn their lesson and would have to still start from scratch, from the beginning as to where they started. So it's more of like they time traveled to learn about things, but then they wouldn't end up with like everything handed to them on a silver platter at the end of the series or at the end of the entire time loop thing, which I absolutely adore. A couple of examples of this, If you have seen Proposal Daisakasen starring Yamashita Tomohisa, it aired early 2000s. I can't even remember when, but the plot is basically still the same. The girl he loves is married to someone else, and during the reception of the wedding, every single photo he was given a chance to go back at that particular moment in the photograph to change things. And he was hoping to, like, when he goes back into the future, he'll get the girl. But the thing is, every single time that he goes back is more of just, you know, changing little things, but then the result would still be the same. Like, he would always end up at the reception of the wedding itself. And even in the end, the conclusion of the series isn't like giving him a happily ever after, but instead he learned that sometimes you're only given one chance in life, and even if you can go back and change little details, the big things that do matter wouldn't really change. Like, it's not a second chance, it's more of just a look back on things, to see things in a different perspective, and maybe to change just the minute details to see where things have gone wrong. But then at the end of the day, you still wouldn't be able to like change the things in a big scale. Same thing with what happened with Todome no Kiss. Like, they didn't force it into a whole happily ever after thing. It was more of just like a learning process, but at the end of the day, he really need to just reboot and go back to everything and realize his own selfish ways in his own way. And he didn't force himself into like trying to pursue this girl that he fell in love with. It was more of like, I have things that I need to deal with and to fix, and I've learned so many things, and I don't want to be the scum that I am when I started. Again, it shows that in Japanese dramas in particular, they don't treat time travel as this way to escape your current present, or definitely like what's happening in the present, but it's more of just looking back into the past and still dealing with the consequences of what happened in the original present where you came from, and just seeing things in a whole new different perspective. With Todome no Kiss, even if it feels a bit abrupt, like the ending, like how he sort of like preached basically everybody else around him when he got back in time, I do like how they sort of like tied a knot into not making it as into like Otaro having his happily ever after, him confessing that he loves someone and then he's gonna get her. So it's not really that, it's more of him realizing all his being a scum through the past couple of episodes and him learning from it, which I really like and I appreciate, and the reason why I'm actually considering watching Parallel, or Todome no Parallel. Like, maybe it's just me being biased towards Japanese dramas in general, but their approach in time travel is really amazing to me, and I like their approach better. If I haven't stressed this enough for the past, I don't know how many minutes I have been talking about the series. I think that's my thoughts for this particular series. Overall, it's a fun watch. So if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and watch it. It's kind of nice and exciting, and yeah, but it's not something that would change your life forever, but it does have a nice message to it in the end. So there's that. I'll probably review another J-drama soon if I get to finish another one, despite the busy shiz that is going on with my life right now. But there's that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. And if you have thoughts about this particular drama, tell me down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Yeah, that's it for today's video. I'm gonna see you soon in a new one. Bye!